Fortnite is now 7 years old, and from free rewards to our next event, we got a lot to be thankful for. Think about it, it wasn't long ago I released a video saying everyone wanted Deadpool's dance as an emote. It was a no-brainer from the start, and despite us thinking it would never happen, Epic dropped this out of nowhere. There was one huge problem when the season launched, and it had to do with the secret skin, Dr. Doom. Fans unlocked this, excited to finally deck him out with their classic Doom cosmetics, you know, like the insane glider from Chapter 2. Except for some reason, it was locked. You couldn't use Doom's glider with Doom. Maybe you grinded hard to get a victory royale while wearing the outfit, desperate to unlock the exclusive emote, only to open the wheel and nothing happens. We begged Epic to fix this. Both outfits are literally the same character, and that's when Fortnite actually listened. They dropped a surprise update to let us use the glider and emote with Doom for those who unlocked them in 2020, and I'm forever grateful for this. What no one was expecting was the surprise announcement of a live event. Next update, we're getting a mini event that might conclude the Doom storyline and officially begin Fortnitemares. Then leakers are saying there could be another event at the end for OG Chapter 2. One of the biggest complaints these past few years have been the total lack of events, considering, we get one per year. So for Chapter 5, Epic has really stepped up their game, giving us non-stop mini events just to keep us hyped. They are also finally giving us some incredible Halloween collabs. God are the days of Rick and Morty and Cospeely. Now they've been on an insane run with Jack Skellington, Michael Myers, and for 2024, we're getting Saw. In Castle Doom's attic, Billy the Puppet is staring at us from a TV screen, with fans losing their mind. Years ago, this would have been considered too R-rated, but Epic finally knows what the players want. Although we are pretty vocal about it, like when the Ultra Doom armor released. We all agreed this was way too hard to find. Everybody wanted to experience this and was terrified they'd miss out. Luckily, Epic were already cooking up a day of Doom LTM that gives you the chance to try it, and for 1 week, they increase the chances of the armor appearing in BR2. If you prefer a different kind of armor, fans have been desperate for the return of Tony Stark ever since Chapter 2. It was exclusive to the Battle Pass in 2020, and the only reskins we got were things like the Hulkbuster. Wasn't exactly what people asked for. So, for Chapter 5, Epic thought of a great way to bring him back with an MCU version inspired by Age of Ultron. One of the biggest suggestions has been about Shuri. She's a great Tier 100 outfit, and her mythic is a rework version of the Black Panther claws from Chapter 2. However, it kinda sucked. No one wanted to grab them because it could never keep up with the other mythics, until Fortnite made a much needed change. They gave these a huge buff to sprint faster and pounce on enemies at longer ranges, but honestly, I think they could be buffed even more. Can you believe that Fortnite is already 7 years old? It's literally old enough to enter first grade, and to celebrate the milestone, they are back with the traditional birthday event. They love to share the moment with us, handing out free cosmetics like a back bling, pickaxe, and spray. To get them, simply follow the birthday quests, which are, ridiculously easy, like thanking the bus driver and eating cake. That's not all though, they also brought back cakes and the flare gun, which also count towards these reward challenges. Not to mention a brand new birthday medallion, which marks the return of balloons. That's already a ton of free stuff, but it is just scratching the surface of the generous gifts Fortnite is handing us later in the video. One of the most controversial sets is always the Fortnite crew. These are hit or miss every month, with some fans loving it and others hating the design, especially for the simple outfits that look uninspired. Well, for October's crew, we're getting a Greek mythology character with Polis, and honestly, the majority of fans love it, praising Fortnite for keeping this beloved theme going. Personally, I'm more excited to learn that Siphon is coming back. One of the main reasons people play competitive modes was to benefit from it, and now Epic has announced it is returning to rank BR in Zero build. Fun fact, it's been over a year since it was removed. It always takes a while to balance these things, like Mysterio's medallion. Literally no one picked this up, and it was totally clowned at the start. Whenever you crouch, you turn invisible, blocking you from shooting, which sucks because most people crouch to get better aim. You also walked insanely slow while invisible. It was a total disadvantage. But Fortnite realized no one wanted this, so they buffed the crouch speed. That's not all. There's a huge problem before where people would start firing and then just crouch out of instinct, activating cloak and ruining their fight. Fortnite's solution? You now have to stand still while crouching to activate the effect, which prevents this from happening entirely. They also prevented Cap Shield from being way too powerful. We all know it. At the start of the season, this thing was a disaster. It had aimbot that could bounce from walls, and the damage was insane. People were spamming this over and over again, just farming kills, causing Fortnite to step in with a nerf. They toned down the damage, aimbot, and even made blocking harder so everyone could enjoy the season more. Another thing we could all agree on is loving when Fortnite gives out stuff for free. They basically said to Samsung users that if you switch to the Epic Game Store before September, we'll hand you guys the Andromeda skin. Because it only included people who played before they announced this, it was a total surprise and barely anyone knows about this secret freebie. But everyone could earn this next outfit for no cost. All you gotta do is log into Fortnite and earn account levels. After 25, we'll get a pickaxe for free, then 50 levels in, Felina is all yours. This is to celebrate the release of a brand new mode, which has players thanking Epic. Reload has been extremely popular since it launched, and fans have been desperate for this to include a more competitive vibe. So they responded with Ranked Reload, and their blog post started with 7 simple words. You asked for it, and now it's here. Of course, we've all been waiting for something even more appealing, a brand new Icon series skin. Everyone loves when YouTubers and content creators get to join the game, and ever since Nick830 made his debut, people have been wondering who's next. Well, that question was finally answered last week with the reveal of Rubius. It's said is very popular with fans, especially his cat back bling. To capture our hearts even more, Rubius is donating all the money from the first 24 hours to animal shelters. You'll love to see it. Let me bring up Lego Fortnite because when it released, this shocked everyone who grew up playing Lego games. It's the very first entry in the franchise to not have split screen mode. After all, these games are all about playing with your friends or family on the couch, so what gives? Well, Epic clearly realized they had to include this and recently announced, yeah, it's coming, so don't worry. They've also spent months cooking up the most anticipated return of all time. We've waited for years for Colombo to come back to Fortnite, and the LEGO developers were the ones to pull it off. Not only do we get the classic creatures back, they even went through the trouble of turning them into LEGO form. But bring them together, and the most adorable thing happens. Not the only way they gave us nostalgia. Last year we got the ultimate surprise when Fortnite decided to go back in time. For 1 month only, we could experience what it was like to land on the Chapter 1 island. I mean, it was incredible. The same loot pool, classic POIs, and even the return of the end event. The Battle Pass was also super original, combining iconic skins from Chapter 1 into new versions like Spectre Knight, Renegade Lynx, and Omega Rock. Knowing we'd only have a month to complete it, they made the Battle Pass shorter and much easier to complete. So 1 whole year later, fans have been desperate to see it return. I just don't think we all expected it going back to Chapter 2. I guess the nostalgia is there. Who wouldn't want to return to the Midas season or the floods that brought new POIs every week? We might even get Coral Castle back, which is gonna be hilarious, but knowing Epic, they'll probably leave a joke or two behind about how much this was hated. If we're talking Battle Pass though, the #1 complaint over the years has been around the skins. If you weren't able to play for a season or didn't have enough time to complete a pass, everything you just paid for is locked away. Just never gave you a chance to earn it again. This has caused huge problems like newer players never getting to unlock famous collabs, whether it's Tony Stark, Deadpool, or The Mandalorian. Obviously, Epic want to keep bringing these skins back to earn money, and new players want a chance to get them, so the solution was obvious, and now it's here. Starting this season, Battle Passes won't be exclusive anymore. That fear of missing out is slightly gone, because you could just wait a year and a half, and those skins will be in the item shop. It gives Battle Pass owners a whole 18 months of exclusivity before they go on sale for a higher price than we originally got it. Speaking of rare outfits, Epic used to love making things a limited time, like when the Paradigm was introduced in Chapter 1, they said she would only be available for a couple weeks and would never return. Then, half a decade later, when out of the blue she was staring item shop users in the face. They rushed to buy her before Epic noticed their mistake, and when they did, they originally decided to remove this from people's accounts. Kinda unfair to people who probably bought V-Bucks just to get Paradigm. So, they changed their mind, letting him keep her on one condition. The OG owners from Chapter 1 would get an exclusive variant as an apology, and obviously that meant she would never return to the shop. Fans are seriously praising Epic for their latest announcement. FNCS is returning in 2025 with a prize pool of $8 million. Not only will it have the Siphon trial I mentioned earlier, but it's going to be trios, something that'll spice up the tournament and has pro players gleaming with excitement. If you're finally getting back into the game, it's probably because they just brought it back for tens of millions of players. After being banned from the iOS App Store since like Chapter 2, we've been desperately trying to get Fortnite back on Apple devices, and now, at least in the European Union, it is downloadable once again. Not sure whether to thank Epic for this or some random judge, but it's a way forward for sure. They've also confirmed Fortnite is coming to Apple in the US sometime in the near future, so I'm excited. Thank you, Fortnite. It's been Tommy. Keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.